This is still Math 20, section 4.7 on percents. And this part we're going to be going from fractions to percents and percents to fractions. The first part, it was between decimals and percents. Now it's fractions and percents. When changing from a fraction to a percent, you're going to need to change the fraction to a decimal first. The fraction to a decimal first by dividing the denominator into the numerator, bottom and the top, and then go from the decimal to the percent using the rules that we just used. And we're going to do some examples on here. I don't have any in here, but let's go ahead and do some. So let's say that I have the fraction 2/5. 2/5. And my job is to change him to a percent. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just change him over to a decimal, and the way I'm going to do that is divide the bottom into the top. Now, when we're doing that, how you enter it in your calculator and how you work it on pencil and paper is critical. It's going to be 5 divided into 2, bottom into top. 5 divided into 2. But when you're doing it on your calculator, it's 2 divided by 5. 2 divided by 5. And we get 0.40. Now, sometimes you're going to have a calculator to use, and sometimes you're not. So you need to know it both ways. 5 into 20 is 4. Okay. Now, over here, I want you to notice I took it out 2 places. Well, why did I want to do that? Well, because I'm going to change it to a percent anyway, and I'm going to have to shift it over 2 places. And from here, it's going to be 40%. 2 places to the right, add the percent sign. Over here, once I get this answer, I'm still going to have to shift it 2 places to the right, which means I have to add a 0 and then put my percent sign on. Okay, put my percent sign on. So the answer here is still 40%. 40%. Let's do one that doesn't come out even like that. Let's do, or not, at least not right away. Let's do 15/16. 15/16. Let's see what happens on 15/16. So we're going to go ahead and use our calculator. So it's going to be 15. Whoops. It's going to be 15 divided by 16. 15 divided by 16. And this comes out even. 0.93750. Okay, that's my decimal equivalent. How do you change that to a percent? Shift the decimal point 2 places to the right and add a percent sign. So it's going to be 93.75. Do I need that 0? Not really. Percent. Okay. Let's take a look at one more. Let's say I had 4/7%. Or excuse me, I had fraction 4/7. So it's going to be 4 divided by 7. And I get 0.57143. And if you were doing this by hand, you would see that it does not end. And so I want to do that by hand so that you can see it. 4 divided by 7. 4 divided by 7. Sorry, that's a little difficult to read. 4 divided by 7. So 7 goes into 40, 5 times? That's 35. And 5, and I'm going to add a 0. 7 into 50 is 7 times. 49. Let's do it again. 7 into 10 once. Calculator's a lot faster, isn't it? Add another 0. 7 into 30. What is that? 4 times. It's 28. See, I'm following right along here. I got 2 left over. 7 into 20 is 2 times. 6 left over. Let's take it a little bit more. 7 into 60, 8 times. 56. 4 left over. And finally, I'm going to start over. It's going to start repeating. So I started out with a 4 here, and I finally got one. So the next one is going to be, it's going to be 5, and then a 7, and a 1, and a 4, and a 2, and an 8. And a 5, and a 7, and a 4, blah, 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 and so on. Okay. So this guy, just keeps on going. Now you're going to be given some directions on this, like how many places to take it out. And when you have a number that looks like this, one of the things that you could do is just either do some rounding on here, or you can write your remainder as a fraction and then change it over to a percent. And if I were to do that, let's say I only wanted to take it out this many places, 2 places. So that means all this here is gone. All that is gone. And I have a remainder of 1. I could say 1/7 like that, right? And that's 57 1/7%. Or over here, 57.143%. Just kind of depends on what the directions are asking you to do. Okay. The last part on this is from percents back to fractions. So let me come up with some examples on that, percents back to fractions. So let's say that I had 42%. My pencil is failing me. 42%. 40. Let's get a different pencil. Let's get a pen. 42%. 42%. If I wanted to change that to a fraction, well, what does percent mean? Percent means out of 100. So it's 42 out of 100. Well, what am I going to do with that? I'm going to reduce that. And that's equal to 21/50. 20/50. So percent to fraction. If I had 18, or let's do 1.8%. 1.8%. 1.8 out of 100. Well, why don't we change that over to a decimal first? I think it'd be a little bit easier for us. So if I move this decimal point 2 places to the left at 0.018, 0.018, well, what is that? That's 18 thousandths. 18 thousandths. And that I can reduce. They're both even, so 9/500. So you're going to have, these problems presented to you lots of different ways. You're just going to have to look it over and see what you can do, and make sure you follow the directions carefully.